FCJ Jeep Talk. Today's episode, our guest is Roy Teeter, owner of PIM Racing and Gears, and a founding member of Franklin County Jeeps. How you doing, Roy?
Pretty good. How you doing, Jeremy?
Good, doing good.
Glad to have you out here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
When or how did you get into the Jeep life?
My first Jeep, we bought as a wreck across the cul-de-sac whenever Ginger and I had moved in together. It was more out of necessity, as I didn't want to see a wrecked Jeep across from my house every day when I came home. And it was there for probably a year. And it's actually the red Cherokee that I wheel on the trails now. The guy had hit a mile marker sign on the interstate and completely caved the front end in and bought it for, scrap, and got some parts from a local guy in St. Clair that used to deal a lot of Jeep parts, and just rebuilt it. And I actually drove it on the road for quite a while, put a small lift on it, and we wheeled a little bit, not much. As the company grew, spent a little more money on it, hit the trails a lot more with a lot more clubs. Off-road in general, my whole life. We've always had some sort of property while we hunted. I would go out to Colorado and hunt, and wheeling was out of necessity out of there. I joke that I've taken, diesel trucks and trailers down worse trails than a lot of people go on, just to get to camp. So as far as wheeling my whole life, Jeeps, it's been early 2000s. And then since then, kind of got introduced to some of these clubs through work, but turned out personally I like it quite a bit, so I involve myself as much as I can.
Good, that's awesome. What inspired you to help create FCJ with Bobby and Jim?
I didn't actually help create it. I was the first, sponsor as far as a business goes. It was early on. It popped up on my Facebook feed. I was fairly new to Facebook then, and I reached out to Bobby and said, hey, I have a company that builds drive shafts. If you're interested, you can come by, take a peek. As everybody knows, Bobby is pretty subdued, soft-spoken. He came over one night after work, and he kind of walked around, and I take it that he wasn't for sure what to think of me, because I just kind of reached out, and he had never heard of me. Of course, hardly anybody heard of us because we pretty much just did wholesale at the point. When we came in and saw the size of the shop and everything, he thought, okay, I think you do more than just drive shafts. Yeah, we do. We do a lot of stuff. Big in the circle track, big in the street rod market, but we do offer drive shafts for the aftermarket. Came on board. At the time, some of the meetings were, big meeting was a dozen people. And we almost had our own booth for the meeting at some of these restaurants, but I've been involved pretty much ever since. Haven't been involved as much as I would like to be lately, for the simple fact that life gets busy and the company's grown, and I spend a lot of time out of state with trade shows. And then I also, I spend a lot of time working on stuff out here at my personal shop.
Yeah, I know you've done a lot of re-gearing and locker work for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
And we all appreciate that. And he does the best work, so he's highly recommended.
I do.
He did it all mine.
I do. I try to just stay with gears, differential work. There's people that will ask me, hey, I need a lift done. I need, engine work. And I really just specify, hey, I would like to stick to the differential work. I've done a lot of other stuff for friends, typical, trade favors type of deal. But when it comes down to it, I really just kind of want to do the differential work. Happy to do kind of anything related to that. It's where a lot of people get confused, because I have Roy that owns PEM. And then I have Roy that does gear work at his home shop. And I know there's a hard divide between there, and people don't always get that. Sometimes they get turned off when I say, well, you'll have to call the shop for that.
Right.
If it's a drive shaft, you'll have to buy it through the company, because that's where, I sell them. If it's a differential work, I'll be happy to do that. Now, if you want to buy a drive shaft and have me install it, that's kind of a hybrid thing. I'll be happy to do that too.
We all never had his hand in our rear end. We all know he does great work. So if you ever want gearing, Roy's the man to talk to.
And it's not always easy, but we make it work. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the Jeep life?
I like watching people attempt stuff that they've never tried. I like seeing newer people on trails, and you guilt them into doing something that they don't think they can do, knowing that a vehicle is perfectly capable of doing it. And then when they are able to accomplish that, you know, and they realize the ability that their Jeep has, and honestly, you know, people don't realize that there's surfaces you can't walk up, you can drive up them.
Yeah.
And I like to see that. Really like when they break stuff, so that I have the opportunity to sew them parts.
Yeah,
you know, that's you know, a lot of times I think I look like the Grim Reaper standing at the top of the trail, thinking, "Come on, you can make it, you can make it." When it pops, snapples, and cracks, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
So not that I want anything to break, but you know, when it happens, that's what I'm here for. I mean, that's you know, someone has to sell the parts.
Well, if you did the work, it's probably not going to break.
Oh yeah, you can break my stuff. I mean, you just got to try hard enough.
Just
Yeah.
try hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anything's a hand grenade if you try hard enough.
So everybody knows you know a lot about the Jeep components and regearing and stuff. What is some advice that you would give to a fellow Jeeper or somebody new thinking about buying a Jeep and getting into the Jeep life?
If you haven't even bought a Jeep, there's one of two ways of doing it. You buy brand new and throw a bunch of money at it, or you buy an old one and you throw a bunch of money at it. Either way, you're gonna spend some money. My biggest thing is I tell people is end goal. What's your end goal of what you want to see that vehicle turn into, or what you want to be able to do with it? If you don't necessarily have an end goal, look around, see what other people have. I mean, you know, it's okay to be envious of something that someone else has that's attainable. So go ahead and work for it. You know, buy something that you can build to that point, or if you don't have the capability but you have the cash, just buy something that's built. There's such a stigma of it's not yours if you didn't build it. Okay, Henry Ford, you know,
Right.
you know, did you go out and mine the ore to make the iron, to make the steel that made? No, you didn't. You know, everyone has a level.
Yeah.
There's things I can't do, and that's why I have people help me do them. I'm not a motor guy. I don't build motors. I would have someone that builds motors build my motor. I do axles and gearing. You know, I'm a machinist, I'm a welder. You know, there's a lot of stuff I can do, but you know, everyone has their level of what they can do. Just be comfortable with where your level is, and if you need help to get to that next level, ask for help. It's not a big deal. End goal. Always think about your end goal.
That's good advice. I know that's one reason I don't have a sticker on mine that says built not bought, because I didn't do all the stuff you mentioned by myself.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's where there's such a, like I said, there's such a stigma with that. And it comes down to, you know, be happy with the level you're at and ask for help to do the stuff you can't do.
Well, just speaking to me personally, I've done a lot of mods to my Jeep myself, but I'm smart enough to know that there's certain things I can't do, and to ask the professional to do it when you want it done.
There's a lot of black voodoo underneath that cover.
Right,
Just a lot of people don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
So I get it. All right, so what we have here is a 1995 Jeep Cherokee, the XJ. I bought this as a wreck, like I said earlier. You'll notice the fender, hood, header panels, all different colors. The front end was bashed in. Kind of rebuilt the front of it. Started out 3-inch lift, 31-inch tires, typical, you know, stepping stone. You know, got made fun of by people that had frames, you know, the typical stuff that goes on in the Jeep community. Just built a heavier bumper for it. Wheeled it like that for a while. I did another budget lift, went to 35-inch tires, stayed with the stock axles, broke a couple components, fixed them. But then I tore it all apart a couple years ago, and I put a truss Dana 44 under the front, did full hydraulic steering, went to bead lock, 36 TSLs. Really didn't do anything to the motor. Typical 4.0, has bigger injectors and forced air. Went ahead and built 1350 series drive shafts out of my shop. Did an Atlas transfer case, 3.8 1 to low, automatic behind that. I went back, did rear drive shafts, did an open exhaust, did a couple custom body modifications right there. The rear axle, we build Ford 9-inch at the shop, so I just got some component pieces that were laying around, old, extra, whatever. Went ahead and did a Ford 9-inch for the rear of it. Still leaf springs on the back. That's pretty much it as far as what I did with this thing. I do run a front air locker. I run a CO2 power tank to supply that. Not a big fan of compressed air. And in the back I run a spool. My modifications that I'm going to do to this next are I do have an exo cage for it, too little too late on a lot of these body panels. And I'm going to 4-link the rear of it. Add a second power tank for supply. And that's honestly about all I'm going to do with this thing. You know, everybody likes to make fun of XJs, and that's honestly why I keep wheeling it. You know, because it's a poor person's Jeep. So that's why I wheel it, because I don't have any money to wheel. I enjoy it. It's fun. People that want to spend a lot of money on a Jeep, great, spend a lot of money on a Jeep. But I started out with a really economical Jeep. I threw a lot more money than the Jeep's worth into it. The transfer case alone is worth more than, you know, several of these, you know, so and that's why I wheel it. It's fun. I can bash it off a tree. I don't care. Flip it over, you flip it back over, you let the oil drain, and you keep going. It doesn't really matter. And I don't drive it to work either, obviously.
All right.
So when you get fed up with wheeling the economical Jeeps, you can slide over to, not that one. You can get yourself a 2021 Rubicon Gladiator with the diesel. That always helps. And this is my daily driver. I have my shop truck that I drive as well, and I'm trying to keep some miles off the shop truck because I do use it for traveling. I tow the trailer with it a lot, and so this is what I went with for my daily driver. Really happy with it. When I get a couple more miles on it, I am going to do, you know, lift wheels, tires, gears, drive shafts, typical stuff. I'm not going to go crazy with it. It's just going to be a kind of a built-up daily driver. So that's what I got.
It's nice.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Okay, so
Real
you've
quick.
been wheeling for a long time. What is one of your favorite trails you've ever been wheeling on? It can be anywhere in the United States. It doesn't have to be just here.
There's a spot that we hunt out in Colorado in Rio Grande County. And it's sentimental because my dad was always involved, but it's called Yellow Jacket Trail. It goes up to Yellow Jacket Pass. It's a numbered hunting section that we hunt at. Had family in Meeker, Colorado. It's a western slope of the Rockies. So we'd always base camp out of there, and then, you know, we'd drop our trucks and trailers and everything, and we would take smaller vehicles out, we'd set up our camp, and that's where we'd hunt. And the reason I like that so much is, and again, was because there's some sentimental involvement there with my father. Broke a lot of stuff there, not meaning to. Our cousin that lives out there, he was always interesting. You know, he I don't think he ever put anything in 4-wheel drive. He would just, you know, grudge it up the hill or down the hill. And we broke a receiver hitch pin and lost a trailer going up this pass. There was just a lot, you know, it seems like every time we went out there was something went wrong, which made it memorable. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's not that it's a horrible trail or you know, something special or easy or hard. It was just, I have memories there, and that's probably why that was my favorite area. Cool. Locally, I mean, I live 3 miles from Moonlight. Mm-hmm. I like Moonlight. I like all the local parks. I like anything that's not muddy. I'm not a big fan of water and mud. I know some people love to slop around in it. I'm not a big fan of it. Anything that has technical trails, a lot of rocks, and, you know, any park can have that, and any park can have, you know, a mud hole too. But I prefer to have a little bit more technical rocky terrain.
Good. What do you have a bucket list trail you'd like to do in the future?
I can't really say a bucket list. I would like to do some of the some of the bigger stuff out west. I know Arizona has a lot of stuff, a lot of technical stuff. I played a little bit down in Texas, and the area that I was in wasn't real technical, wasn't real hilly, real rocky, but it was enjoyable. Rubicon, just to say I did the Rubicon. Some of the Colorado passes, but again, when you hunt out there,
right,
years and years, it kind of turns into, a lot of the places you go, are pretty similar. I can't really specify out west. Some of the bigger rocky stuff out west, I'd like to play out there a little bit.
Well, think about the Rubicon Trail for 2025.
25.
Me and Bobby have talked about it, and we were talking about planning the trip there in 25.
We're scheduled out to 23 so far with our vacation.
Yeah.
So 25.
So you might have.
That might happen.
So we see you have the Mr. September decal on there, and I've heard the nickname before. So how did the Mr. September name of the Jeep come about? Is that not necessarily the name of the Jeep? It's
no, that's what they've dubbed me. Is
yes,
Mr. September. Yeah. I don't name vehicles. I know everybody likes to, and that's kind of a thing in the Jeep community. I never have. Not that I don't bag on anybody that does that. I just think it's kind of goofy myself, so I don't partake. And that's what it's all about. Do what you want to do. So Mr. September, it has my silhouette. So what happened is FCJ had the calendar stuff just like they do now. There was a moment in time that got captured. Early on, I did this goofy pose. Every time someone got stuck or broke something, I'd flop up on the Jeep and I'd take a pose. If you scroll back far enough in the archives of FCJ, there's tons of pictures of me, on top of broken stuff. And I always did the same pose. And so it kind of got to be a thing that, anytime somebody would take a picture, they would do a goofy pose the same as I. So it came up, there's a picture that got snapped. It was Jason Bruce's Jeep. Mad Max, I think, is his version. They're naming a Jeep. And it went down in the creek, got high centered. In the background, it's just one of those things. There's a bunch of stupid stuff going on all at once, and I flopped down in the middle of everything on the ground, and I took a picture. Zach Rohde snapped it for me with my phone, and it's just one of those moments in time, and everyone thought it was funny, and I submitted it. There was a Jeep in the picture, so it qualified, and that's how Mr. September came about. So it's just one. Nice. I think is the first calendar year.
Nice.
That's where it came from.
So we should incorporate goofy pictures back into one of the themes for the calendar contest.
I think themes are great, and again, everybody can do their own thing. It does kind of turn into, everyone likes to see, stuff off the ground and dirt flying and everything, but not everybody is able to do that.
Right.
So I get the themes, and I get it. As long as everybody can get a chance to put something of theirs in, that's what you go for. And if you don't want to participate, don't participate.
Right.
It comes back to the whole thing. Do what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, all we can do is create fun things for people to participate in. It's up to them.
That's right.
To participate.
And there's all different levels, that's why there's an off-road side of it. That's why there's an on-road side of it. There's people that, they want to tear stuff up, because they have the ability to fix it. There's people that want to, that drive and get ice cream.
That's true.
So do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the long and short. That's the story of Mr. September. I don't know how I haven't blown that glass out. This was Rattler at S'more, all this, and it happened to come across Zach right here, and it actually scratched enough to scrape the sticker off, but it didn't bust the glass, so I think it means something.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that's
cool.
Cool. Thank you, Roy, for being our guest. We appreciate it. Thank you for everything you've done for the club. And we created FCJ Jeep Talk to get to know each other better. So if you're interested in being on an episode of FCJ Jeep Talk, just contact me through Messenger. And thank you for watching, and love the Jeep life.